In this reading vlog, I'm gonna be reading 2 fantasy books. I wanted to do a fantasy reading vlog because I haven't read fantasy in a while. And I have a few fantasy books that I really want to get checked off my want to read. So the first book that I want to read is Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. She is a thickie. I bought this one for myself last year on my birthday. I always do an order from Indigo for my birthday because you get like 20% off or something. So I bought this because I really want to read it. It has like over 4 stars on Goodreads and I think it has almost 300,000 reviews. It's been sitting on my shelf for almost a year now and I really just want to get it done. I have started this, I'm not very far in. So far, the chapters are switching from east to west. That's what they're titled. So we're following a perspective of a group of people in the eastern part of this world and then another perspective of people in the western part of this world. In the western perspective, we are in Innis, where there is a queen who is ruling and she's still unmarried and she needs to have a daughter in order to keep this villain essentially at bay. Her bloodline needs to be continued to keep this villain from resurfacing and wreaking havoc on the world. In the eastern perspective, we are following a girl who just graduated dragon riding school, essentially. I'm not exactly sure where her perspective is going right now because we haven't seen a ton from her, but the back of the book says, Tane has trained to be a dragon rider since she was a child, but is forced to make a choice that could see her life unravel. So I'm really liking it so far. It is, I believe that this is considered an epic fantasy. It is very, very complex fantasy. Like the back of this book, in the back of the book, we have important people. There's a huge list and there's also a glossary of terms that are completely made up by the author and have to do with the fantasy world. So yeah, that is book number 1. I am determined to get this done. It is 848 pages. I honestly don't think I've read a book this big since ACOTAR, which was over 2 years ago now. I read that at the end of 2023, beginning of 2024. And of course, there's also a map. And yeah. I am definitely enjoying it so far. It's just, you gotta be locked in reading this. I would never be able to listen to this via audio alone. Like I could do it reading and listening, but it's just really dense and complex. And I need to be able to reference like the glossary and the map and stuff. So that is book number 1. For book number 2, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet. I might do the Raven Scholar or I might do The Isle in the Silver Sea. I have 2 Audible credits, so I think I'm gonna use one of them for that. I don't think I have a fantasy on my shelf that I wanna get to right now. The Isle in the Silver Sea, I have heard is amazing and one of my friends recommended it to me, so I feel like I do really want to try that. But also the Raven Scholar got an insane amount of hype last year, so I'm in between those 2. The Raven Scholar, from what I understand, it's giving like Hogwarts vibes in that it's a magical school and the students there are split up into houses that are like animals. There's like raven, bear, I don't know what the other ones are. It doesn't say in the synopsis, but I've just heard other people describe it as that. So I feel like I could be really into that. Anything that feels like remotely similar to Harry Potter, I feel like I would adore. Love Harry Potter. Fuck J.K. Rowling. Then The Isle in the Silver Sea is a sapphic romantasy, I believe. In this world, there's a tale of a witch and a knight and they're fated to fall in love and then doom each other over and over again. This always happens. Our 2 main characters, one is a witch, one is a knight. They begin to fall for each other and the story follows them essentially trying to break the cycle. So that also sounds really good and it's sapphic, so. I'll decide later the week what one I want to read out of those 2. But for now, let's get into The Priory of the Orange Tree. It's a few days later now, and I just wanted to come back and update you guys on my initial thoughts for Priory of the Orange Tree. So I just got to part 2. It's 250 pages in, so I'm like 30% in, and I did really enjoy part 1. It was a bit slow getting into it right off the bat because it's like an epic fantasy story, so there's a lot of learning. You're learning all these people's names, all these different places in this world. You're learning about creatures in this world, and there's like this sort of magic as well. So my reading was definitely slower than normal because I had to keep referencing the map in the front of the book, and then there's a glossary at the end, and then a list of people also at the end, which is super helpful. One thing I will say, the chapters are fairly short in this. Like, for the most part, the chapters are 10 pages or less. Some of them are a bit longer, of course, but that makes it way more palatable. It's hard getting into, I find it hard getting into an epic fantasy read like this. You're learning a lot. You're trying to wrap your head around all this made up stuff, but the short chapters made it much more palatable. I think I explained before, we are alternating different POVs. So there's like, it will say east and then west, which the POVs are happening in the eastern part of the world and the western part of the world. But there's also actually 3 like main POVs that we're following. We are following Tane. I am not sure about the pronunciation of all of these. Like, I'm reading them physically, so I don't have like the audiobook to reference or anything for pronunciation. But we have Tane, who is a dragon rider who just finished school to become a dragon rider, basically. And that's really cool. Like, that I really like that POV. We're also following Ede's point of view. She has essentially moved to another country and is pretending to follow their political and religious beliefs, but is actually just there in order to protect the Queen of Innis, whose name is Sabrin. Sabrin. Ede's people believe that there will be this evil entity within this world that is resurfacing soon, and that this evil entity will be targeting Queen Sabrin. So Ede is there basically like undercover to protect Sabrin. And the reason that Ede is qualified for this is because she has some sort of magic. We saw a little bit of it in part 1, but we don't really know the workings of it. We just know that she can wield some sort of magic. By the end of part 1, you can tell that there's like some tension between Ede and Queen Sabrin. So I'm thinking that this is gonna be where the sapphic like romance comes in. So I'm super excited for that. Then a third point of view that we have is Queen Sabrin's friend, Lord Ardaloth is his name, and he has essentially been sent on a suicide mission. He's been sent into a part of this world that worships the evil entity that Ede's people believe will be resurfacing soon. The thing is, Queen Sabrin was not the one that sent him. Someone else sent Lord Ardaloth on this suicide mission and didn't let Queen Sabrin know, so she does not know where he went and is confused why he left without like saying anything to her. So yeah, those are the 3 like big POVs. There's another one, but it doesn't get as much like page time as these 3 main ones. So I'm really enjoying it so far, and I'm really excited to see all of these point of views come together. Like, I'm assuming they're all going to intertwine eventually, and we're gonna see these characters interacting and stuff. So I'm really excited for that. I'm hoping to make a bigger dent in this book over this weekend, maybe. I just have to be locked in when I'm reading it. Like, I don't even think I don't know if I could listen to the audiobook of this. You have to be so focused. Like, I don't think I could be doing other things while listening to this book. I think if I was listening to the audiobook, I would have to have the book in front of me and just be like following along. But it is very good. I'm happy I'm liking it so far. Samantha Shannon's world building is crazy, like so good. And her writing's really descriptive. I love being able to visualize this world in my head. I have been searching up like fan art of the characters and stuff just because I like seeing what people come up with. And I like using those ideas to build a character in my head that I can just picture every time I'm reading about a character. Okay, I will hopefully see you guys in a couple more days when I am further in and have another update. It is again a few days later. I am now on part 5. I only have this many pages left. Oh my god. Less than 200 pages left. Let's go. I'm obviously not going to say too much because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody that hasn't read this, but I am still really liking this. I'm liking the aspect of the dragons that we're now getting. We weren't getting a ton of them in the first few parts. We are seeing more of them now. Also, previously I said that there were 4 POVs. I explained 3 of them because the 4th one we weren't getting very much of. We are now getting much more of him and seeing much more of him. So I wanted to explain his POV. His name is Nicolas Ruse, and he is an alchemist and anatomist, I guess. Nicolas was banished from Innis in the west to Orosima, which is in the east. He was actually banished by Sabran. That is how you pronounce her name, not Sabrin. I have now listened to the audiobook a little bit, so I know most of the pronunciations now. He told her that he could make her an elixir of life, which would allow her to live forever, for longer, and he never actually managed to do it, so she banished him because she was pissed off. When the book opens up, we are in the east, and that's actually where Tane and Nicolas Ruse are. And then the western perspective is where Iad and Sabran are. I am still really liking it. I feel like it's feeling like a 4 stars right now because it's just so complex, and I mean, I love the queer representation, and it feels different from anything I've read before. I mean, I've never read an epic fantasy before, so it is different than anything I've ever read before. But at this point, I'm like, how do I still have 200 pages left? Are we wrapping up soon? Going to continue on, keep reading. I probably won't update now until I'm done because I'm sure the last 200 pages are going to be very action filled and also are probably going to be full of a lot of things that are spoilers, so I'm not really going to be able to talk about what happened in the last 200 pages. Feeling proud. The end is near. I am very excited to finally have this book off of my TBR. Did it, guys. I finished this behemoth. I'm finally done. Thank God. Honestly, I'm gonna try and make this quick because I honestly don't want to think about this book any longer. I started reading this at the beginning of January, and I was kind of on and off because I had stuff checked out from the library that I needed to finish, so then I wasn't reading this for like a few weeks at a time. So it just felt like extra dragged out. It already is 804 pages, so I really didn't need it to feel any more dragged out than that. The average rating of this on Goodreads is 4.17 stars, I think. This is not 4 stars for me. As of right now, I'm inclined to give this 3 stars, I think. There were a lot of aspects that I liked. I did like the complexity of the world, and I liked how Samantha Shannon like built this world. I liked referencing the map and seeing where everything was. I liked this, all the states in this world, or states, I don't know. I also really liked the aspect of females in power in this. There were multiple queendoms within this world. There's no speak of a king, and I just really liked that. I feel like that's not something that you see often, and I really appreciated it and thought it was kind of a breath of fresh air. And another thing I really liked was Dragon Rider School. We didn't get to see a lot of it, but what we saw, I loved. Like, I would read a book that was solely based around that and like the students in that school. Oh my god, I loved it so much. But again, that like came and went very quickly in the book. But unfortunately, along with all these things that I liked, there were just a slew of things that I did not like or that didn't really work for me. So, I mean, overall, I don't think that it had to be 804 pages. In my last update, I said, like, by the time I was at the last 200 pages-ish, I was just ready for it to be over. And something that played into that was the fact that we are introduced to this big villain at like the beginning of the book basically, and they're saying that he's going to rise again. So you're expecting this big war or like battle or whatever when he rises. The battle against this big villain, it starts when there's 50 pages left of the book. I was like, okay, so this must wrap up fast, and boy did it. We're talking up this big villain, and then the whole thing's over in like 8 pages. I was like, right. So he wasn't that big and bad then. Like, shouldn't that have been harder? I just thought that it was all, that aspect of it was wrapped up in like a very lackluster way. Then after that, we see some of our main characters post the battle. And I feel like their stories also were just so unsatisfying, like the ends to their stories. We see them go through so much and we're with them as they go through like all of these hardships. And then by the end of it, honestly, none of the 4 narrators in this book had satisfying conclusions for their characters, I don't think. Tane, Iad, Nikles, and Loth. I think Tane ended up being my favorite in the end, and she did have the most satisfying ending, I think, but I still feel like there was so much to her that we didn't get to see. And then with Nikles, like, he was so morally gray. I feel like Samantha Shannon wanted you to empathize with him, but I just couldn't. Like, I was like, dude, you kind of suck. Overall, if Samantha Shannon was set on this book being 804 pages, I think there were other aspects of these characters in this world that we could have gone more into depth on that would have made for a more interesting and engaging story. I just think by the 60% mark, it started to feel a bit repetitive. And I was like, okay, like when are we getting to more action? The whole running around the world thing, going from like east to west, was just starting to drag on. So yeah, not what I expected. Thought I was gonna like this a lot more. I did love the queer romance aspect of this, but we also didn't end up getting to see a ton of that. Would love for them to have their own spin-off book. I would read that. I would read that. I would read a spin-off book about the dragon riding school. I think that would be super interesting, and I think that there's a lot of really fun things that Samantha Shannon could do with that. I don't think I'm gonna read the 2 other books that are in this series. I think there's 2 prequels. I just checked on Goodreads and it is 2 like prequels. They're books .1 and .2 in this series. I don't think I'm gonna be reading those. I don't think I like this enough to read those. But Sabran and Ead book I would read, and Dragon Writing School I would absolutely read. I'm very proud to finally be done that book. I'm very happy that I can finally take it off of my TBR. And I got a huge book read for 2026. I did not read any books this big last year. I don't think anything even remotely close, so I am proud of myself. Brave of me to think that I could read 2 massive epic fantasy books back to back. Yeah, there's no way that's happening. I'm done Priory of the Orange Tree now. It honestly took me a bit longer than I thought it was going to. I think for 2 main reasons, honestly. I had never read an epic fantasy before that, and I had not read fantasy as a genre in quite a while. So it just took me a bit to get into it and get familiarized with the world. So I did end up getting The Raven Scholar on Audible and was gonna listen to it, but it says that it's literally 24 hours. And I don't think I can do another fantasy book of that size directly after reading Priory of the Orange Tree. So what I think I'm gonna do now, instead of reading The Isle in the Silver Sea or The Raven Scholar, I'm gonna read a shorter fantasy book for the second book in this vlog. There is one that I've been eyeing, so I think I'm gonna go with that one. It's called Cinder by Freya Marske. It's only like 140 pages, I think, but I'm gonna listen to it on Spotify with my hours. It's only 4.5 hours, I think, or something like that. So that will be a nice, quick fantasy read that I can get done and include in this vlog. I think it's a Cinderella retelling. I'm not sure what the degree of fantasy is in this. I mean, there has to be some sort of magic because Cinderella, her pumpkin turns into a carriage. I was gonna read the synopsis, but I think I'm just gonna start it and then update you guys and kind of explain what's going on that way. It is also queer, I believe. I was gonna read the synopsis, but I think I'm just gonna go into it. I know it's a Cinderella retelling, so whatever. I'll just go into it and start reading, and I'll update you guys when I'm into it and I can explain what's going on. Oh, also, I got my hair cut and I can't tell if it's too short. I was like, I want it cut shorter, and then when I left, I was like, oh God, do I have a bowl cut? I am flipping it out, but yeah, getting used to it. I think I like it. And one more thing. Every Valentine's Day, Lindt puts out limited edition bags of their chocolates. Last year, Sophie and I got a bag of this one, Neapolitan. It's like pink. Oh, they are so good. She bought 2 bags of them this year. And hey, the first one is already basically gone. I want to show you guys what it looks like. They're so good. It's basically, honestly, just mostly strawberry flavored, but they're so good. Wait. It's like, okay, ignore my calluses. And then when you bite into it, oh man, they're so good. If you're a chocolate fan and you like strawberry, get these. 110% recommend. They're so good. Oh, they're so good. Okay, I will see you guys soon once I've started and understand what's going on in Cinder House. I finished Cinder House and I fear it was 2.5 stars. So when I was explaining what I knew about the book before going into it, I said it was a queer retelling of Cinderella. I was under the impression that it was a sapphic retelling of Cinderella, and after reading other reviews upon finishing the book, it seems like a lot of other people thought that going into the book as well. That is actually not the case. The main romance in this is an MF romance, and had I known that going in, I honestly don't think I would have read it. I feel like part of the pull of wanting to read this was because it was a queer Cinderella retelling. Traditionally, Cinderella is an MF romance. So I was like, okay, it's gonna be FF, it's gonna be so fun and exciting and different. So yeah, that was disappointing. Now, to explain the plot to you, essentially, Ella, our main character, is a ghost because 4 years ago she was murdered, and she is now haunting the house that she was murdered in and is being bossed around, told to do chores and housework by her stepmother and stepsisters. One day she makes a bargain with a fairy who grants her the ability to go to a ball at the castle for 3 consecutive nights. The prince is hosting this ball for 3 consecutive nights because he's looking for a wife, and Ella wants to be able to go. So this fairy grants her wish. She can go to this ball as a human. So she can dance with people. They can actually touch her. That's not normal in her life as a ghost. Nobody can touch her or see her. So people will be able to touch her, see her. She'll be able to eat. She basically just wants to do this because she misses being human. So over these 3 consecutive nights, we see her meet her love interest, which is the prince. Ew. We watch their relationship develop over the 3 nights. There is another aspect to their relationship, but I don't want to spoil anything, so if you're intrigued, read it, I guess. But just know it is not an FF romance exclusively. Freya Marske, or Marske, not sure on the pronunciation there. Her writing's not bad by any means. I did really like how she explained kind of the logistics surrounding Ella's haunting, how it works, and the rules involved. I did like that aspect. And I like the premise of the book, I just didn't love the execution. I think if I read a synopsis for one of her other books and I was intrigued, I would be interested in reading it, but I would probably look at reviews or look into the book more than I did Cinder House before I actually read it, because I did not look into Cinder House very much, actually at all, before I read it. I had just heard sapphic retelling of Cinderella. So like I said, I was going through reviews after. The majority of the 1 and 2 star ratings, if not all, spoke about the fact that the book was marketed as being sapphic. And I mean, it's just not the case. So when your expectations are set at a certain level, you think you're getting one thing out of a book and you get something completely different, I mean, it's gonna feel disappointing. But I wouldn't be opposed to reading something else from this author. I would just look into it a little bit more. I don't like to read reviews of books before I read a book because I don't want to get spoiled and I want to be able to form my own opinions. I love reading them once I'm done, and I don't know how I could go about that before reading another book from this author without spoiling it for myself, but I'll cross that bridge if I ever get to it. This fantasy reading vlog was kind of a flop. 1 3-star read and 1 2.5-star read. Disappointing, but I am happy to have these both off of my TBR now, especially Priory of the Orange Tree. I am so happy that brick of a book is off my TBR, and I can say that I read it. I didn't love it, but I can say that I read it. My reading goal for the next few weeks is going to be to seek out books that I think I will be rating either 4 stars or up, because I need a little bit of redemption after these 2 last reads. And there will be another reading vlog coming in March with a few of the books that I'm starting within the next couple weeks. I hope you still enjoyed the video. I hope you got something out of it. Maybe I scared you away from these books, or maybe you're intrigued and you want to give them a go. I support you in your decision, whatever you choose to do. I will see you guys in the next one.